What's up, everybody? We are officially 1 week into Bowman 2023 release, and that means we now have enough comps to put up a ranking of which players are selling the best so far. This list is only going to show hitters who have first Bowman autos in 2023. And for all these numbers you're going to see included on these slides, the price does include shipping, and they only include sales from April 30th to May 3rd. I wanted to weed out some of those sales from the first few days because, as we know, most of those have come crashing down, so I try to get it as recent as possible. The prices are going to be an average of the last 3 sold base chrome autos for each player. Again, I tried to throw out the bad comps and only use paid comps. If a guy only had 1 or 2 legit sales in that time frame, I adjusted the average. And I know that a player's cards price doesn't exactly go hand in hand with how they're ranked as a prospect. As you know, guys who may be a little older, closer to the majors, can sometimes be ranked higher as prospects because of their ETA, but sometimes that doesn't always translate to high card prices. But just for a visual, I'm going to post next to each prospect and where they are ranked in the top 400 by both James Anderson from RotoWire and Eric Cross from Fantrax, 2 of the best in the business. I included their Twitter handles. I recommend giving them a follow. They have a lot of great prospect content. And obviously, when we get down into the lower tiers, none of those guys will be ranked in the top 400. So for those guys, we kind of have to do our own research to determine who deserves to be priced higher. But we're going to go ahead and start into some guys that I think are worth buying right now. As you see my disclaimer in the bottom left there, anybody that I'm saying is a buy, I'm mostly saying that they are more valuable than the guys they are ranked below. As we know, in the first week of Bowman releases, I would say pretty much every prospect is a sell for the most part. The prices are so inflated, I personally sell everything I open the first few days. Then you can kind of wait for the prices to come back down, buy back in on the guys you like. So I'm not saying the buys are must-buys at the current price. I'm more so saying that they are buys relative to the guys they are surrounded by price-wise. Obviously, I don't discourage buying at current prices, as quite a few guys will go up from here, but just want to make that clear of what I meant. No real surprises in the first couple of tiers here. We knew Drew Jones would be priced like crazy. You'll see where he's ranked as a top 15 dynasty prospect by both of the experts here. Tier 2, no surprise to me either. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that back in March when the checklist dropped, I did a preview of who I thought would be the most expensive players in this release. And my list actually started Drew Jones, Spencer Jones, Junior Caminero. So hit that one on the head. I got a couple of sideways looks from people telling me that Spencer Jones wouldn't be that high, but here we are. And I'm not going to label Caminero as a buy because it's only one spot. You know, the prospect ranks would consider him the second best prospect in this class. He's priced 3rd. I think he should moved up, and he's already catching Spencer Jones in prices the last couple days. But I think he really needs to be priced higher than Spencer Jones, so I don't hate the buy on him. You can see both of the guys have Caminero ranked higher than Spencer Jones. I know Spencer Jones has the Yankees tax, and he could be a special player, but Caminero, being 19, hitting the way he is, you really should jump him. I know Drew Jones has the crazy potential, but Caminero being less than half of his price feels a little disrespectful. He's one of the few guys on here whose prices might not actually come down from release week. Because if he keeps hitting the way he does, he might end up with, like a Churio-esque jump in the hobby. But other than that, the Tier 3 prices look pretty good for the most part. You'll see both guys like Mervis, Collier, and DePaula in that order, ranked very similarly. Justin Crawford kind of jumps out. As you can see, neither of them like him particularly much, James Anderson being crazy low on him. But I do understand the concerns. He's a very volatile prospect. He's got a very high ceiling. He also has a low floor. I talked about this in my preview. I think he's the only one who stands out as someone I would sell at the moment based on, prospect ranking. And, anyone who knows me knows that I'm also selling Matt Mervis at these prices. And look, based on where he's ranked as a prospect, it would say his price is warranted, as you can see with the ranks there. But I can't look past the age. Prospect rankers should be higher on him than the hobby because the hobby really tends to downgrade an old prospect. But being a 25-year-old prospect and having cards that are going for more than Cam Collier and Josue DePaula, it's a little insane to me. Like I said, nothing really jumps off the page in these first 3 tiers as far as buys. I do like Caminero, but he's in a good spot right now. Personally, I'd be selling Matt Mervis and Justin Crawford here. Other than that, nothing really stands out. Tier 4 is a real strange one here. You'll see beginning with Lee being 9th overall, despite James Anderson not even having him in the top 400. Cross does have him 256, which is respectable, but I'm not sure what's going on with his prices. He does sign his cards in kanji, which is really cool. Maybe it's an international thing that has helped his card prices some. I'm not really sure, but they seem kind of high considering where he's ranked as a prospect. Gabriel Gonzalez could be a borderline buy. You see Cross has him top 100, which is really good for how he's priced. If you were kind of make a consensus out of these two dynasty rankers by averaging their ranks, they would actually have Gabriel Gonzalez ahead of Lazaro Montes, who is in a higher tier. But the one that gets me here is Edouard Julien. If you watch my chase list, I had him as a top 10 chase for me. You look at the rankings, and Eric Cross actually has him as a 30th overall prospect, and I like that. I actually think he's that good. Anderson, you see, has him at 58, which is like puts him neck and neck with where he has Mervis. My beef with his card prices is that he's a better ranked prospect than Matt Mervis is. He's a year younger than Matt Mervis. He's already in the MLB. He needs to be higher. I know the Cubs fan base can drive prices up. They're a good market, but this one's crazy to me. The only knock that the hobby could really have against Julien as a prospect is his age. But for him to be younger and priced significantly lower than Matt Mervis, who most dynasty rankers would consider a worse prospect, doesn't really make any sense to me. If we're ignoring the age and going strictly off productivity as a hitter, which we seem to be with Matt Mervis, making him a top 5 chase, then Edouard Julien's a top 5 chase. The gap isn't big, if there is one at all. It's just one of those, make it make sense moments for me. How we're knocking Julien for his age, but we're paying $170 for a Matt Mervis base auto. It's off. Going down, you'll see Nelson Rada, Randy De Jesus, and Myro Shendrick Martinez. All of them are not even top 400 on either experts list. I think their card prices are probably driven by the people who see potential in young prospects. Nelson Rada is still 17 in A-ball. All these guys are pretty young. I'm totally okay with gambling on these guys, so I wouldn't say they're a sell. I don't mind them here at all. Nothing else here really stands out to me other than we need to put some respect on Edouard Julien's name a little bit. Getting into Tier 5, we see some green here. You'll notice that Xavier Isaac and Carlos Jorge both are ranked as top 100 prospects by either one of the dynasty experts here. And because I value the opinion of both of these guys, I'm going to go ahead and label both of them as buys. There aren't a ton of guys in this release who are going to get top 100 designations, and nobody ranked 12 through 17 came close to a top 100. So I think they both have guys ahead of them that they should pass. Xavier Isaac off to a slow start, and he is a redemption, so maybe both of those things factoring in his prices working against him. You'll see he comes in at 18th. At the end of the day, the Rays used a first-round pick on him. I trust the Rays. I trust their ability to develop players. I think we all should. The dynasty rankers seem to like him. I'm good with scooping some Xavier Isaac here. Carlos Jorge, almost too easy for me. If you watch my chase rankings, he was my personal 7th highest chase in this product, and nothing has changed. Great power speed combo. Batting 300 with 2 homers and 5 steals in A-ball right now as a 19-year-old. He's just a very overlooked prospect. You'll see Cross likes him. He has him inside his top 100. The Reds have a lot of stud infielders in the minors. Maybe that hurts. But he deserves to be ranked higher in this class for sure. Underneath that, you'll see Von Brown. He also looks like he should be priced higher based on the dynasty rankings. You'll see they both like him. They both have him top 200. I think his lower price is probably age-related, being an old prospect. Basically a death sentence, unless you're Matt Mervis. It's my last jab at Matt Mervis, I promise. Another buy, I like Michael Arroyo here. Ranked similarly by both guys, you'll see. Just another player who he's just good enough to pass a lot of the guys that are in front of him. I had him 14th on my personal chase list, so I agree with the dynasty rankers here. He's a good prospect, and he's young. I think he needs to go up, go down a little bit. Glider Figueroa, another buy. He was top 10 for me before release. Off to a slow start this year if you check the box score, but he's still 18, playing A-ball. He's working on his approach. He's not swinging at a lot of pitches right now. And I said in my preview, his power is insane. His ISO numbers are through the roof. You got to buy the slow start here. He's one that I'm really high on. He's actually the lowest priced prospect on this list that is ranked top 200 by either one of the rankers. You'll see Cross has him 190. He's just priced too low. And then last but not least, on Tier 5, we're going to go Gabriel Martinez of the Jays. Is another guy who the dynasty experts like, and I agree with them. You'll see One more on the next page, but he's one of only 2 prospects ranked top 300 by both of these guys who have a base auto under $30. He's a good hitter. He's still only 20. He's been playing pro ball since he was 16. I think he's being overlooked in this release for sure. He was top 20 to me before the season started, and nothing at all has changed. Tier 6, a lot of names here. We got a few more buys. Here we're at prospects 34 through 62 in terms of opening week prices. So they're mostly towards the middle of the 81 hitters that we have. First guy I like relative to his price here is Hector Rodriguez of the Reds. He came over in the Taylor Naquin deal from the Mets. You'll see both experts have him top 400. Cross has him 205, which is really good. He's a good hitter. He's patient. He runs pretty well. Isn't projected to have much power, but he's got 5 home runs in 18 games already this year. I think if he grows into power, you could see him jump up. He's pretty cheap at the moment. I'm intrigued by that one. Moses Ballesteros, another very similarly ranked prospect as Rodriguez. I think he's got some upside. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that every week I post a sheet, and it shows hitters at each level that have an OPS over 850, an ISO over 180, and a swinging strike percentage under 13. I like to try to find these guys that have, really solid plate discipline. They get on base, they hit the ball hard. It's a rare combo. And he's popped up like 3 weeks in a row for low A hitters for his age. He's on a very short list. Jackson Holliday's been on it. Brady House has been on it this year. He obviously doesn't have the upside of those guys, but his hitting and plate disciplines looked really good. He's another guy that I think is probably just priced a little too low. And then we'll get into a guy that I think is priced way too low, which is Brock Jones of the Rays. I mentioned on the last slide, Gabriel Martinez was one of 2 guys ranked top 300 by both Dynasty guys who has with an auto under $30. The other one's going to be Brock Jones. He's actually ranked top 250 by both James Anderson and Eric Cross. I think he needs to be higher. He's a guy who has swing and miss concerns, but he has a very rare combo of power and speed. He's 22 years old. He just got drafted, and he still hasn't gotten past A-ball, obviously, so I wasn't expecting him to be a chase at all. But he's got great tools. He's got some loud tools. And I think that when you get down into this range, that's kind of half the battle. He does play for the Rays, which I love. They can develop their players. And I think for someone with such good home run and stolen base potential, he needs to be higher for sure. One more buy from this tier. We'll go with Pedro Ramirez of the Cubs. I had Brock Jones and Pedro Ramirez in my honorable mentions for my chase rankings video. They were both top 20-ish on the fringe there for me. Ramirez, a switch hitter in the Cubs organization. He's only 19 years old. Had a strikeout rate under 10% as a 17-year-old a couple years ago in the Dominican Summer League. Very patient hitter. Good stolen base numbers, good ISO numbers. I think if he can turn some of that raw power into home run power, he could be a sneaky prospect. He's the lowest priced prospect that either Dynasty ranker has in the top 250. As you see, Cross has him 213. He's ranked by both guys. I just think he's flying a little bit under the radar right now. Tier 7, no surprise here. Pretty much all of the guys are outside the top 400 by both of the Dynasty experts here. However, 2 guys do pop up on the top 400 lists of each of these guys. First is going to be Robert Perez of the Mariners. You'll see James Anderson has him 372. He's getting old for a prospect, about to turn 23, but he's a pretty good power hitter. He hit 27 home runs, I think it was, last year across 2 levels, but he also struck out 142 times. So it's not like he has the best hit tool, but has 5 home runs this year so far in AA already. I think when you get down here in this tier, you just got to get some guys who are going to make the league. I think that's probably half the battle when you get down into the 7th tier here. And sometimes you're just buying one tool alone because you think it can pop. And Robert Perez's power and the fact that he's already in AA, I don't mind getting some cheap autos of his relative to the other guys around him. Same thing for Blaine Crim of the Rangers. You'll see Cross has him 321st. Same story as Perez, but even older. Crim's actually 25, but he has good power and he has a better hit tool. Last year he hit 293 with 24 homers, and he actually doesn't strike out a ton for a big power hitter. I actually think his hit tool is decent. Obviously, when you're a 25-year-old prospect, you aren't going to be a chase, but I like him. I like the bat. I like him and Perez. I think there's some value down here when you get down this low. And because both those guys do have some solid power and shouldn't be too far away from getting their chance in the majors, like some of these guys who are 5+ years away. I don't hate a flyer on either of these guys for how low they're priced. And that's going to do it. That's the end of the 81 all the way down. Again, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment anyone you think I missed who is a buy currently, or any questions you might have. I appreciate any and all feedback. Until next time.